Well, top U.S. diplomat Antony Blinken is now in Israel as part of a push to prevent the war in Gaza from spreading into the wider Middle East region. Mr. Blinken has met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and will join talks with the War Cabinet to discuss Tel Aviv's post-war plans for the Palestinian enclave. The American envoy says he will share what he heard in 2 days of talks with Israel's Arab neighbors. Earlier, Mr. Blinken told Israeli leaders that there was still a chance for integration with the Arab world if Israel agreed to create a path to a viable Palestinian state. Now, in Gaza itself, the World Health Organization is warning that the healthcare system in the middle and southern parts of the enclave are on the brink of collapse. Intensified fighting in these areas have forced hundreds of staff and patients to flee for their lives from medical facilities. A WHO official says the injured and sick are risking their lives to get to hospitals farther south in Khan Yunis. Meanwhile, fighting between Israeli forces and Lebanon-based militant group Hezbollah continues to escalate, with near daily cross-border exchanges of fire. The Iran-backed group said it struck a command base today in northern Israel in retaliation for the killings of one of its commanders and the deputy leader of Hamas. The IDF says no injuries or damage were reported. Well, Trent Murray joins us live from Tel Aviv on this very busy day. Trent, first, what are some of the issues that Mr. Blinken is expected to press Israel on, and how may Tel Aviv respond?
Well, we're really tracking three main threads of the conversations which we know are taking place based on what the US State Department is telling us. The first is the situation right now as it stands in Gaza. We know both privately and publicly the Americans have been signalling to Israel that they want some answers on when they're going to move away from high-intensity operations to more targeted operations. And that is a message that certainly many of those neighbours of Israel have shared with Secretary Blinken, that they would like him to put pressure on Israel to announce a ceasefire. But I think that remains unlikely right now based on the rhetoric we're hearing from the government here. The second major issue is what happens next, the future. Who will govern Gaza? What will happen with the security? There is disagreement around that. The Israelis say they would like to maintain security in the Strip themselves, but certainly many of those neighbours suggest that that is not viable and that amounts to continued occupation. And then I think thirdly, and probably most worrisome right now for many diplomats here, is the potential expansion of this conflict. As you rightly mentioned, there's been very heavy rocket fire in recent days from Hezbollah into northern Israel. The IDF says it's responding. I think the fact that there was a successful strike today on the headquarters of the Army's Northern Command was significant. The IDF is saying this hour that it is now stepping up its own strikes in response to that hit on that important military base.
Trent, on the flip side, among the issues raised to Mr. Blinken by Israel is what they have described as the atrocious genocide case against the Palestinian people to the UN's top court. What more has Israel been saying on that? And will the situation in Gaza bear heavily on that case?
Oh, very much so. I mean, this is a really significant moment for international law, and there's a lot of expectation building ahead of this case. It will come on Thursday when the country of South Africa officially takes Israel to the ICJ on accusations of genocide. Now, we know, based on what we are hearing here, that the Israeli government will put up a robust defence to that claim. We understand some of that will centre around these inflammatory comments that we've seen from some Israeli ministers about the people of Gaza in recent months. We know South Africa is trying to use some of those comments to mount their case, but the government here is going to try and argue that that's just basically part of national political debate and it doesn't reflect the official Gaza policy. But it is, as I say, a very significant moment. In fact, I've been speaking to some sources up in the Palestinian Authority in Ramallah, and they are saying that they are really hoping that this case could be successful, that maybe, just maybe, those judges will force Israel to announce a ceasefire because of an injunction there. And they say they really feel that given the UN votes, what the EU is saying, that the last kind of remaining hope for them is this ICJ ruling. So a lot of eyes on The Hague in coming days to see how those judges respond.
All right, Trent Murray reporting from Tel Aviv. Thank you.